The glass of champagne hit the ground before I even felt the shove. 1 second I was standing near the entrance of the vineyard reception hall, holding a flute someone had handed me, and the next I was stumbling backward, my hip slamming into the edge of a table, glasses rattled, silverware clinked, and the bride's voice cut through the evening air like a razor. "Get out of my way! Who even invited you?" She didn't wait for an answer. She straightened the front of her gown, flipped her hair over one shoulder, and walked away like she had just brushed a piece of lint off her sleeve. 2 of her bridesmaids giggled behind their hands. A waiter looked at me, then looked away. And the only thing I could think, standing there with champagne soaking into the hem of my dress, was this. That woman just shoved the person who paid for every single flower, every plate of food, and every thread of that gown she's wearing. And she has absolutely no idea. My name is Eleanor Dawson. People call me Ellie. I am 68 years old. I live in a small house in Bakersfield, California, and until 3 years ago, I was a registered nurse at Mercy General. I spent 41 years taking care of other people's pain. I know what it looks like when someone is hurting. I know what it looks like when someone is pretending, and I know when something is deeply, terribly wrong. My grandson Tyler is 29. He's the kind of young man who holds doors open for strangers and calls me every Sunday. Or at least he used to. After his parents, my daughter and her husband died in a car accident when Tyler was 11. I raised him. I packed his lunches. I helped him with homework at the kitchen table. I drove him to baseball practice in a car that barely ran. I worked double shifts so he could go to college without debt. He was my whole world. And I was his. Then he met Jessica. It started about a year and a half ago. Tyler called me one evening, his voice light and excited. "Grandma, I met someone. She's amazing." I smiled so wide my cheeks hurt. "Tell me everything," I said. He told me her name was Jessica, that she worked in marketing at some big firm in San Francisco, that she was smart and beautiful and driven. I was happy, truly happy. But over the next few months, something shifted. Tyler's Sunday calls became every other week, then once a month. When I asked to meet Jessica, he always had an excuse. "She's traveling. She has a deadline. Maybe next time." When I offered to drive up to the city and take them both to dinner, he said Jessica was private and needed time. "She's not great with family stuff," he said once, his voice careful. "She grew up in foster care. She doesn't really do the whole big family thing." That broke my heart in a different way. I understood. I told Tyler to take his time, that I would be patient, that whenever Jessica was ready, I would be right here. She was never ready. 6 months ago, Tyler called with the news. "Grandma, we're getting married." My hands shook. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm so happy for you." There was a pause. Then, "The wedding is going to be at Hawthorne Vineyard in Napa. It's Jessica's dream venue, but it's expensive." I could hear it in his voice, the thing he didn't want to ask. "How much?" I said. He told me the number, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. It was nearly every dollar I had saved over 41 years of nursing. My retirement, my safety net, my emergency fund. "I'll take care of it," I said. "Grandma, no, I can't let you. You're not letting me do anything," I said firmly. "I'm choosing to. That's what family does," Tyler cried. I cried. And the next day, I transferred the money into his account. All of it. But there was a condition. Tyler's condition, not mine. He asked me not to tell Jessica the money came from me. He said she was proud, that she wouldn't accept charity, that she wanted to believe they were building everything on their own. I didn't love the idea, but I trusted my grandson. So I agreed. I also agreed to something else, something that still stings when I think about it. Tyler asked me to keep a low profile at the wedding. Jessica had told him she didn't want any surprise relatives making things awkward. Tyler swore he had told her about me, that she knew I existed, but that she had never seen a photo of me. He said he would introduce us properly at the reception. "Just give me a chance to do it the right way," he said. So I showed up alone. I drove 3 hours. I wore a pale green dress I had bought at a second-hand shop and altered myself. I carried a small gift, a locket that had belonged to my daughter, Tyler's mother. Inside it was a photo of her holding Tyler as a baby. I wanted Jessica to have it. I wanted her to know she was part of our family now. Nobody greeted me at the entrance. The vineyard was gorgeous, string lights woven through oak trees, white chairs lined up on a hillside, roses everywhere, guests mingled in clusters, laughing, holding wine glasses. I recognized no one. Tyler had said he would find me before the ceremony, but he didn't. I sat in the back row, alone, watching my grandson stand at the altar in a suit that made him look just like his grandfather. When Jessica walked down the aisle, she was stunning. White gown, long train, flowers in her hair. She smiled like the world belonged to her. I wiped tears from my eyes and whispered, "Your mama would be so proud." After the ceremony, I made my way toward the reception tent. That's when it happened. I was standing just inside the entrance, trying to find my name on the seating chart. It wasn't there when Jessica came rushing through with her bridesmaids. I didn't see her in time. I was in her path, and she didn't slow down. Her shoulder hit mine, but instead of the champagne spilling on her dress, it spilled on the ground. She spun around, her face twisted with irritation. "Get out of my way. Who even invited you?" The shove came next, a hard push to my shoulder that sent me stumbling into the table. And then she was gone. I stood there, trembling, my hip aching, my dress stained, and my heart pounding so hard I thought I might faint. A young man in a bow tie, a groomsman, I think, glanced at me and muttered, "You okay?" But he didn't wait for an answer. A woman nearby whispered to her friend, "Who is that?" Her friend shrugged. "No idea. Probably crashed the wedding." I wanted to open my mouth and say, "I paid for this wedding," but the words stayed locked inside my chest. I found a chair near the back of the tent and sat down. My hands were shaking, my eyes burned, but I did not cry. I had survived harder things. I had buried my daughter. I had raised a child alone on a nurse's salary. I had held dying patients' hands at 3 a.m. A shove from a woman in a white dress was not going to break me, but it was going to teach me something. As I sat there, I watched Jessica work the room. She floated from table to table, hugging guests, laughing that bright, practiced laugh. She posed for photos. She touched people's arms when she talked to them. She was charming, magnetic, and completely in control. Then I noticed something else. Tyler was standing near the bar, alone. He wasn't mingling. He kept looking around the tent, scanning the crowd. He was looking for me. Our eyes almost met once, but a groomsman pulled him aside for a toast. I stayed where I was. I wanted him to come to me on his own. About 20 minutes later, he finally did. "Grandma!" He rushed over, his face breaking into a relieved smile. "I've been looking everywhere. Are you okay?" "You look..." He stopped. His smile faded. He looked at my dress, the dark stain spreading across the front. Then he looked at my face. "What happened?" Before I could answer, Jessica appeared at his side. She looped her arm through his and beamed. "There you are. The photographer needs us for the sunset shots." Then she noticed me. Her eyes moved over my face, my dress, my stained hem. No recognition. None at all. "Who's this?" she asked brightly. Tyler opened his mouth, but I spoke first. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Go take your photos." Tyler hesitated. "Grandma." "Go," I said. "We'll talk after." Jessica tugged his arm. "Come on, we're losing the light." She pulled him away without a second glance at me, but Tyler looked back over his shoulder, and I saw something in his eyes, the same look he used to get as a boy when he knew something was wrong but didn't know how to fix it yet. I sat there through the toasts, through the first dance, through the dinner I hadn't been given a seat for. Another kind guest, an older gentleman at a nearby table, noticed me sitting alone and offered me his bread plate. "You look like you could use a friend," he said quietly. I thanked him and ate in silence. During the cake cutting, I watched Jessica feed Tyler a piece of cake, then smear frosting on his nose while everyone laughed. She was performing. Every gesture, every smile, every touch, it was all for the audience. I had seen that before. Impatients who smiled through their pain to avoid uncomfortable questions. The difference was, those patients were protecting themselves. Jessica was protecting an image. After the cake, Tyler finally broke away from the crowd and came back to me. He knelt beside my chair. "Tell me what happened," he said. "And don't say you're fine." I took a breath. Someone pushed me near the entrance. I spilled my champagne. I hit the table. His face darkened. "Who?" I looked at him steadily. "Your wife." The color drained from his face. "What?" She didn't know who I was, I said carefully. She told me to get out of her way and asked who invited me. Then she shoved me. Tyler stood up slowly. His hands were clenched at his sides. She didn't know it was you? She's never seen my face, Tyler. You told me that yourself. He closed his eyes. I could see the guilt settling over him like a weight. I was going to introduce you tonight. I had it planned. I know, I said. She shoved you, he repeated, like he was trying to make the words make sense. That's when Jessica appeared again. Tyler, the DJ is about to play our song. What are you doing over here? She glanced at me and frowned. Is she still here? Tyler turned to her. Jessica. This is my grandmother. Eleanor. Jessica blinked. Then she laughed a short, nervous sound. Wait, your grandmother? The one from Bakersfield? She looked at me again, her smile frozen. Oh, well, I didn't realize. You shoved her, Tyler said. His voice was low, controlled, but I could hear the tremor underneath. Jessica's eyes widened. I didn't shove anyone. She has a stain on her dress and a bruise forming on her hip, Tyler said. And half the people near the entrance saw it happen. Jessica's expression shifted. The charm melted away, replaced by something harder. She was blocking the entrance. I barely touched her. It was an accident. You told her to get out of your way, Tyler said. And you asked who invited her. Does that sound like an accident? Jessica crossed her arms. Tyler, it's our wedding night. Can we not do this right now? He stared at her for a long moment. You shoved a 68-year-old woman who has never done anything to you. I didn't know she was your grandmother. Jessica snapped. That makes it worse, Tyler said quietly. That means you'd treat any stranger that way. If this story has your heart pounding right now, take a second to tap like, drop a comment telling me what you would have said in that moment, and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Because what Tyler discovered in the next few minutes changed everything. Jessica's face flushed. You're embarrassing me, she hissed. People are watching. Tyler didn't look around. Good. She stiffened. Excuse me? I said good. Maybe someone should be watching. Jessica grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the garden path, away from the tent. We are not doing this in front of 200 people. She looked at me with sharp eyes. Stay here. Tyler gently removed her hand from his arm. My grandmother comes with me. Jessica opened her mouth, then closed it. The three of us walked in silence down the stone path to a small clearing surrounded by grapevines. The music from the tent became faint. The only sounds were crickets and the rustle of leaves. Jessica spoke first. Look, I'm sorry. I didn't realize she was your grandmother. It was a stressful day. I was rushing. I overreacted. Tyler nodded slowly. Okay. Then apologize to her. Jessica looked at me. I could see the resistance in her jaw, the way she had to physically force the words out. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to push you. I nodded. Thank you. Tyler didn't relax. Now tell me why she wasn't on the seating chart. Jessica blinked. What? The seating chart. Her name wasn't on it. I gave you the guest list myself. Her name was on it. Jessica shifted her weight. The planner must have missed it. I confirmed it with the planner 2 weeks ago, Tyler said. She said you called and removed 3 names from the list. One of them was Eleanor Dawson. The silence that followed was deafening. Jessica swallowed. I was trying to keep the numbers manageable. You removed my grandmother from my wedding, Tyler said. Each word landed like a stone. It wasn't personal, Jessica said quickly. I didn't think she'd actually come. You said she was old and didn't like to travel. I never said that, Tyler replied. I said she lived 3 hours away and I wanted to make sure she had a ride. Jessica's mask was cracking. I could see it in the way her eyes darted, the way her fingers twisted the edge of her bouquet. Jessica, Tyler said slowly. Is there anything else I should know? She laughed that bright, performative laugh. What do you mean? I mean, is there anything else you've done that you haven't told me about? Her smile disappeared. Tyler, this is insane. It's our wedding night and you're interrogating me because some old... She stopped herself. Finish that sentence, Tyler said. She pressed her lips together. I wasn't going to say anything bad. You were going to call her some old woman, he said, the way you did when you shoved her. I didn't call her anything. Jessica's voice rose. The waiter heard you, I said quietly. They both turned to me. He asked me if I was all right. He told me what you said. Who even invited you? Those were your exact words. Jessica's face went red. He's lying. Tyler looked at me, then back at Jessica. She's my grandmother. She raised me after my parents died. She's the reason I'm standing here today. I know that, Jessica snapped. You've told me 100 times. Then why did you remove her from the guest list? Jessica didn't answer. Why didn't you want her here? Still nothing. Tyler took a breath and asked the question I had been dreading. Jessica, where did you think the money for this wedding came from? Her eyes flickered. Just for a second. But I saw it. From us, she said. From our savings. We didn't have that kind of money in savings, Tyler said. You know that. I told you someone helped us. You said a family member helped, Jessica replied carefully. And you never asked who? She shrugged. I assumed it was a distant relative. Some uncle or something. Tyler stared at her. It was her. He pointed at me. Every cent. The venue, the catering, the flowers, the dress you're wearing right now. That came from my grandmother's retirement savings. 41 years of working as a nurse. Jessica's mouth opened. Then closed. Then opened again. That's... No. You said... I said a family member. She's my family. She's my only family. Jessica looked at me. And for the first time, I saw something flicker behind her eyes. Not guilt. Not gratitude. Fear. Why didn't you tell me? She asked Tyler, her voice tight. Because you told me you didn't want to feel like you owed anyone. Because you said you wanted to build our life without handouts. And because I thought if I told you, you'd refuse the money, and we couldn't have this wedding. Jessica's jaw clenched. So you lied to me. I kept a secret to protect your pride, Tyler said. You removed my grandmother from her own grandson's wedding. Those are not the same thing. If you're still with me and your heart is racing, hit that like button now. Tell me in the comments what would you do if you found out the person you humiliated was the one who made your dream possible. And subscribe, because what Jessica said next made my blood run cold. Jessica straightened her shoulders. The fear I'd seen in her eyes was gone, replaced by something colder. Fine, she said. So she paid for the wedding. That doesn't give her the right to be here. Tyler recoiled. What? You heard me. Money doesn't buy a seat at my table. I decide who belongs in my life, Tyler. Me. Not her. Not some woman I've never met who thinks writing a check makes her important. I felt my chest tighten, but I kept my voice steady. I never asked to be important. I just wanted to see my grandson get married. Jessica turned to me. And you did. From the back row. That should have been enough. Tyler's voice dropped. Jessica, do you hear yourself? I hear myself perfectly, she said. I've worked my entire life to get out of the system, to build something, to matter, and I'm not going to let some grandmother from Bakersfield make me feel small on my wedding day. She didn't make you feel small, Tyler said. You feel small because you know what you did was wrong. Jessica's eyes flashed. Don't psychoanalyze me. Then tell me the truth, Tyler said. All of it. Because I have a feeling this isn't just about tonight. Jessica went quiet. The vineyard was dark now, the string lights from the tent casting a faint glow through the grapevines. I could hear guests laughing in the distance. They had no idea. The apartment, Tyler said suddenly. The lease on the apartment in the city. You told me your company covered the deposit. Jessica stiffened. Did they? Tyler asked. She didn't answer. Jessica, did your company cover the deposit? Not exactly, she murmured. Then where did the money come from? She glanced at me, then looked at the ground. I borrowed it. From who? From the wedding account, she said quietly. Tyler went still. You took money from the wedding fund, my grandmother's money, and used it for our apartment deposit. I was going to pay it back. Jessica's voice cracked. My bonus was supposed to come through in March. I was going to replace it before anyone noticed. How much? Tyler asked. 12,000. My legs felt weak. That was 3 months of my pension. That was my emergency fund for medications, for the roof that needed fixing, for the water heater that was on its last legs. Tyler pressed his hands against his face. What else? He asked, his voice muffled. Nothing, Jessica said quickly. That's it. Is it? He dropped his hands. Because 2 months ago, you told me the photographer doubled the fee, and last month, you said the florist charged extra for imported roses. I paid those invoices without asking questions. Were those real? Jessica's silence was its own answer. How much? Tyler whispered. Another 8,000, she said. Give or take, $20,000. $20,000 of the money I had worked 41 years to save. Money I had given freely, out of love, for my grandson's happiness. And this woman had siphoned it away for deposits and fake invoices and things I would never see. Tyler turned away from her. He stood with his back to both of us, his shoulders rising and falling with heavy breaths. When he turned back around, his eyes were red, but his voice was steady. I'm going to go back into that tent, he said. And I'm going to tell the truth. Jessica's face went white. You wouldn't. Watch me. Tyler, if you do this, it's over. Everything we built. My reputation. Your career connections. The people in there. They're investors. Clients. People who matter. My grandmother matters, Tyler said. And right now she's the only person in this vineyard who hasn't lied to me. Jessica grabbed his wrist. You walk in there and say one word, and I will make sure everyone knows your grandmother is just some broke old nurse from the Central Valley who couldn't even afford to. Stop. Tyler's voice cut through the air like a blade. Do not finish that sentence. Jessica let go of his wrist. Tyler reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his wedding ring. He held it up in the dim light, turning it slowly between his fingers. I wanted this to work, he said. I really did. I told myself the red flags were just stress. I told myself you'd soften once you felt secure. I told myself that loving you hard enough would be enough. He set the ring on the stone bench between us. It wasn't. Jessica stared at the ring. You're making a mistake. No, Tyler said. I'm fixing one. He walked back toward the tent. Jessica called after him twice. He didn't turn around. I sat on the bench for a moment, letting the night air settle around me. Then I picked up the ring not to keep it, just to hold it, and followed my grandson. Inside the tent, Tyler asked the DJ to cut the music. The room went quiet. 200 faces turned toward him. Jessica rushed in behind us, her face flushed, her eyes darting around the room. Tyler stood in front of the head table. He cleared his throat. I need to say something, he said. And I need to say it honestly, because this night has been built on too many lies already. He looked out at the crowd. Most of you don't know the woman sitting in the back of this tent. She doesn't have a place card. She wasn't on the seating chart. She came alone, and she's been sitting alone all night. Her name is Eleanor Dawson. She's my grandmother. She raised me, and she paid for every single thing you see here tonight, the food, the flowers, the music, all of it with money she saved over 41 years as a nurse. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Heads turned toward me. I felt my face burn, but I sat up straight, Tyler continued. Tonight, my wife shoved my grandmother at the entrance and told her to get out of the way. She didn't know who she was, because she'd never bothered to meet her. And when I confronted her about it, I found out she had also removed my grandmother from the guest list, stolen from the wedding fund, and lied to me about where the money went. The tent was silent. Jessica stood near the entrance, her face pale, her arms wrapped around herself. I'm not telling you this for sympathy, Tyler said. I'm telling you because silence is what got us here. I stayed quiet when things felt wrong. My grandmother stayed quiet because she trusted me to do the right thing. And Jessica counted on that silence to keep everything hidden. He took a breath. This marriage is over. And I'm sorry you all had to witness this. But I'd rather you see the truth than watch me pretend. He stepped down. The room erupted in whispers. Jessica turned and walked out the garden doors without a word. Her bridesmaids followed, then stopped, looking at each other, uncertain. Tyler came to me. He knelt in front of my chair, just like he used to when he was a little boy and needed to tell me something important. I'm so sorry, Grandma, he said. I should have introduced you months ago. I should have never let her keep you away. I put my hands on his face. You stood up when it mattered. That's what counts. I'm going to get your money back, he said. Every dollar. I promise. I know you will. He hugged me so tight I could feel his heart beating through his suit jacket. Around us, guests slowly began to approach. The older gentleman who had shared his bread plate shook Tyler's hand and said, Your grandmother raised a good man. A woman I didn't know brought me a glass of water and a napkin for my dress and whispered, You didn't deserve any of that. Another guest, a man in his 50s, came up to me and said, 41 years of nursing? Ma'am, you're the most important person in this room. I cried then. Not from pain or humiliation, but because kindness, real kindness, still existed in this world. Tyler drove me home that night, 3 hours through the dark, the radio playing softly, neither of us needing to fill the silence. When we pulled into my driveway, he turned off the engine and sat there for a moment. "I'm going to fix everything," he said. "The money, the apartment, the lies she told people about our family. All of it." "I believe you," I said. "And Grandma?" "Yes. I'm moving back to Bakersfield." My heart swelled. "You don't have to do that." "I know," he said. "I want to." He walked me to my door, kissed my forehead, and waited until I was inside before he drove away. In the weeks that followed, Tyler did exactly what he promised. He filed for an annulment. He reported the stolen funds. Jessica's fake invoices were uncovered, and the money was traced. She tried to threaten him, tried to call his employer, tried to spread lies on social media. But the truth was already out, and it was stronger than anything she could fabricate. Tyler got a smaller apartment 2 miles from my house. He comes over for dinner every Wednesday and calls me every Sunday again. Sometimes we sit on the porch and don't say a word, and that's enough. Jessica? I heard she moved out of state. I don't wish her harm, but I don't wish her back either. If this story moved you, if it made you angry, if it made you think about the people in your life who give everything and ask for nothing, take a moment to like this video. Leave a comment telling me what part hit you the hardest. And subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Because the lesson I learned that night at the vineyard wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about proving someone wrong. It was about this. The people who love you the most are often the quietest ones in the room. And the loudest voice at the table isn't always the one that matters. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stand still, tell the truth, and let people show you who they really are.